Good morning and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Well, today we're concluding Matthew chapter 4, and tomorrow we'll move into chapter 5, where we see the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. We're going to get into some heavy-duty stuff in the next couple weeks. I'm excited about it. But today we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 4, verses 24 and 25, where we see how quickly Jesus' public ministry grew. So here we go, Matthew chapter 4, verses 24 and 25. So his fame spread throughout all Syria, and they brought to him all the sick, those who were afflicted with various diseases and pains, demoniacs, epileptics, and paralytics, and he cured them. And great crowds followed him from Galilee, the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and from beyond the Jordan. So right away we see Jesus becoming famous, if you will, by curing all of these different ailments. And that's who could blame him? We see that today as well. But what's significant here is who he was curing. So we read right away that his fame spread throughout all Syria. Now, in Roman times, Syria applied to virtually to all of Palestine, with the exception of Galilee. A Galilean would probably have understood Syria to refer to the territory just north of Galilee, from the Mediterranean Sea up to Damascus, so it was quite a large area. And it wasn't necessarily just the country of Syria, but it was more of a region, so it was larger than Syria. So I think that's a very important point. So we also see, the Decapolis as an example. The Decapolis, from the Greek word deca for 10, is a group of 10 cities that are east of the Jordan River. Huge Greek influence. Remember that Palestine, Israel, it was a Roman territory, so they were influenced by Greek culture, Hellenistic culture, all those things. This area of the Decapolis had, we include like cities like Phoenicia, Tyre, things like that. And the only other time that the word epileptic is used here is in Matthew chapter 17, verse 15, where it's applied to a demon-possessed boy who exhibits symptoms of epileptic seizures. So these are some big-time ailments that Jesus is going around curing. He's doing this to establish his kingdom, to say, hey, even though he's not saying directly, I'm the Messiah, he's establishing his kingdom by healing. We covered that in yesterday's show. And so we see something critical here. Jesus is going around teaching, healing. His influence is growing outside of Galilee. It's to the Decapolis. It's to Syria. In short, what Matthew is saying, that Jesus is not only for the Jewish people. It's for everybody. Jew, Gentile, slave, free, Greek. It doesn't matter what your nationality is. It doesn't matter what your race is. Jesus came to save you. So yeah, we got a little bit of history here, what Jesus is doing, where his fame spread, what he's curing. But its message for us today is that Jesus is still for everyone. It's not just for a specific race, etc. Well, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Daily Bible Podcast. Join me tomorrow as we go into chapter 5. And as always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please rate it, please share it, please leave a review on iTunes. It helps people find it. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining me.